Good morning to Bromfields in the 35 corridor. I'm D. Lee Edwards here, the host of the Real Deal Real Estate Show. And today's special guest is rental specialist Becky Wiley and Wes Miller, sales manager, and of course, Francine Larrabee, who's kind of a all-around real estate guru. So that's going to be really good. We're going to be discussing an item called the rent trap and how does renting really differ from home ownership on so many levels. But first, it's time for the New Braunfels Title Market Report. Today, we're looking at Comal County, winding down the year, and Comal County sales remained stable in December with 673 homes sold in the last 90 days and 225 in the last 30. By the way, that's pretty consistent with the 2 months prior. Inventory dropped 57 units, but still very healthy with 1,438 homes available, and there are 25 homes under 200,000, 154 from 200 to 300, 340 homes from 300 to 400,000, and 350 from 400 to 500. Oh, and 603 over $500,000. Guess what, market? There's a little more negotiable. Yep, probably the $500,000 and up. Now, mortgage rates continue to decline, which is good news. 30-year conventional was down to 6.63, while 15 years was sub 6 at 5.96. And FHA and VA 30-year, 6.06 on FHA, 6.07 on VA. That certainly will help buyers get back in a groove. Now, rates adjusted to the bond market with 10-year Treasury yield at 3.85, 2-year at 4.281, and the 91-day T-bill is still a very attractive investment at 5.26. First-time unemployment claims on the rise to 218,000 this week. Expect this number to continue to climb as seasonal workers get thrown back to the market. Nationwide home prices declined 2.4% below the peak. However, there are signs of recovery on pricing in certain price margins, like under $300,000. But prices are still holding and escalating in some of those areas. But if you're over $400,000, you need to expect lots of negotiation on price and availability. Now, will there be a recession in 2024? Or not? Well, most sources say no, or slight, or a soft landing, which means they don't have any consensus. Let's just lead it to you how you was. You don't have a recession. There has never been a recession. In the history of the U.S., if unemployment is not over 6.5, 6.7%. We're not going to see that kind of unemployment. So what you're going to have is this little thing they've been talking about called rolling recession. Well, there's really no such thing. What you have is different segments of the market are going to contract, and they're going to adjust because maybe they hyperinflated, kind of like the housing market did. It's getting a pullback. But you're going to see things like currently what's down in price? Used cars. What else? Well, as inventory goes up on new cars this week, I started seeing incentives again. A year ago, you want a car? Well, we'll have to order it, and we're getting full price. Some places it was above price. So that's what we're talking about. You get a section of the market that adjusts because either there's a glut or overexpanded. So don't look for a recession this year unless the government screws up the economy and causes unemployment to go skyrocketing. Now, growth? No more growth. That's what people keep saying. Well, folks, as long as the administration fails to control illegal immigration, that contributes 500,000 people annually. Some people say it's closer to 1 million. We're going to have a shorting outfall. See, 3 years ago, we had a shortage of available housing of 3.5 million. The report came out today from Zillow, 4.5. We've got 4.5 million people looking for housing, waiting for the interest rates to go down to be able to jump into housing and move into it. So I'm just here to tell you, growth is going to keep coming because, oh, by the way, the echo boom, that means all you Zers and millennials and whatever that are not boomers, your generations combined are almost twice the size of the baby boom. So growth is here. Now, area governments and utilities, if they did not take to building infrastructure and preparing for the next surge, which is 2025, they're behind the curve. So if your local municipalities aren't putting on more electric plants, gas plants, getting more water and sewer built, getting towers up, I hope the government officials are listening. You are going to be so far behind the curve, you won't see right side up for 10 years, and you'll be the cause of a train wreck in the economy. Now, oil prices recovered this week with WTI at $71.84 a barrel. Still, oil at the end of the year was down, but that wasn't bad for us at the pump. It was just bad for the oil companies. The stock market inched down on Friday, but finished the week up. The Dow was at 37,665, while the NASDAQ hit 15,026. The S&P closed at 4768. The year-end rally really helped a lot of portfolios. I know it helped mine. So, home sales are stable. Home prices still declining in some areas. And, things are improving overall. Inventory solid, new home sales strong, and incentives are available. That's really good. Mortgage rates continue to decline, which is even better for buyers. Bond market good, oil prices low, stock market up, economy half good and bad. Growth continuing, Congress still messed up. That's just normal. Up and Monday. Oh, man, Monday's a brand new year filled with opportunity. Everything that you could imagine, your oyster is available in 2024. So, thank your blessings. We're done with 2023. Look to a bright 2024, and that's the real deal for December 30th, 2023. Now, don't go away. We'll be right back on the Real Deal Real Estate Show, where we're going to talk about the rent trap and how to build your wealth. But first, a few words from our sponsors. You're listening to the Real Deal Real Estate Show on KGNB 1420 AM and 103.1 FM. And we're back on the Real Deal Real Estate Show, and our special guest today is a crew from Dealey Edwards Realty and Edwards Property Management. We've got first-time home buyer specialist and rental specialist Francine Larrabee and Becky Wiley, and, of course, sales manager Wes Miller, and we're talking about the rent trap. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
By the way, this segment of the show is brought to you by Meyer Heating and Air Conditioning, keeping you comfortable all year long. So, Wes, what is the rent trap?
The listeners out there and y'all in the room, y'all know I'm not the most excitable person out there. It takes something special for me to get super excited, giggling in the studio.
No.
But I'm so excited to be here today. This is something that I'm really passionate about is people investing in real estate and investing in themselves. Your home is for many people, it's the biggest investment you'll ever make. So I'm excited to be here and talk about it today. What is the rent trap? The rent trap is what happens when people get stuck renting and creating wealth for their landlord instead of themselves. The longer you're in the rent trap, the harder it is to escape. Rents keep increasing, inflation keeps rising. It's hurting everyone right now. Times are tough. I know a lot of our listeners know what I'm talking about, or you might have friends and family in this situation. There's just nothing left over at the end of the month to try to grow and invest.
So economically, renters are making money for the landlords. They're growing their wealth and reducing their own wealth capability. Is that right?
That's right. And they're missing the boat. Look, the wealthiest Americans are all invested in real estate because it is such a great investment vehicle. More wealth is built in real estate than any other investment out there. And like I was saying a second ago, there's such a low barrier of entry. The best place to start is with your own home, and we'll talk about how small of a down payment we can come up with here in a minute. But it's an easy thing to get into. You just need a little help.
All right. So one of the things that we've been talking about on the side, when we talk about the rent trap, today we're talking about it economically, but I wanted to mention something socially. I spent time with Habitat for Humanity and why that program's so important, which is a hand up, not a handout, and with working with other low to moderate income housing because of the demand of the workforce. What we find is that renters create a problem for schools because of the migrant kind of movement. They move every year. They move every 2 years. Francine, I mean, the average lease you see, you see people staying in a house more than 2 years on rent?
Not normally.
No. And so what happens? These children get moved from school to school. About the time they get into the rhythm, they make good friends, they have the connectivity, they jump up and move, and they have to reestablish. Sociologically, renting is bad for stability and school performance for kids. So regardless of the economic feature, there's a downside on that if you're really trying to provide a stable home for children. So let's get to the economic part. I've got off my soapbox on why you need to have permits to break the chain of poverty, but let's get started here. So, Francine, let's talk about the financial portion of this. How can a person who's just a regular, maybe two-family income or somebody making $60,000, $70,000, how can they multiply their wealth by buying versus renting?
Well, let's start out with the rental price. I mean, a lot of rental houses are going to be, $1,800 to $2,200 that you're going to be paying in rent, right?
Right.
I mean, some a little bit more and some a little bit less.
So 18 to 2,200. What price house can I get for that price point?
Probably about 275.
250, 280, something like that.
Yeah, anywhere around in there. Let's say down payment $6,000 or so. There's a lot of like first-time home buyer incentives that you could also apply to help with that cost. On a 30-year note, we're looking at about 6.25, maybe a little higher, maybe a little lower, depending on credit and where the market sits. You'd be looking at around $1,500 or so.
On a mortgage.
Right, on a mortgage. But monthly rent, we were talking about that 18 to 2,200. Let's say your rent was $1,975. So you'd be paying about $40 more for your mortgage than you would be paying on your rental house.
All right. So when you break down how it works, everybody goes, well, I could save $40 a month. You really don't save $40 a month because you're going to spend it on something else. You're not putting it in a bank. Mm-hmm. But equity amount on a $2,000 a month mortgage, how much equity am I building a month?
So let me jump in here because this is where I get excited. I'm the bean counter of the group. On this example, we're using, let's say we're buying a $275,000 house with $6,000 down. Every month, we're going to earn $255 of equity just by making our mortgage payment.
All right, so let me get this right. I'm paying $40 more, but I'm getting $255 in earned equity into this house.
That is right, but wait, there's more. We're going to assume this person's in the 22% tax bracket. So we're every month by making our mortgage payment, the interest we pay, we're going to save $308 a month in income tax.
So that's $500-$600 right there a month that I'm building that's not going into somebody else's pocket.
Which sounds great, but wait, there's more. The average home in this area appreciates 4% a year. So let's break that back down to monthly. So now we're appreciating $917 a month on the home. Add all that up, we're talking $1,480 a month in wealth creation.
All right, so let's talk about that annual. So here's the deal. Most people, when they think about investment, they go, well, I bought a $275,000 house, and it only went up in value 4%. I only made 4% on the house. No, we have to talk about return on investment, right? The profit is on the 6,000 investment. It's return on investment. I put in $6,000, and in a year's time, Wes, how much did I get back?
So in this example, we're talking $17,760, a 300% return on your investment.
So if I had saved all year long, all right, and I put $500 a month in savings if I could find it, I saved $6,000, and the bank paid me maybe 1% or 2%. I'd have got what back? $120. But if I put it into a mortgage on a house, I got 17. That's about what percentage?
299%. Let's round it up to 300.
Look, if I could invest every day for 298%, I'd be buying everything I could get my happy little hands on.
And look, you're making the payment. You've got to live somewhere. You're making that monthly payment, whether it's rent or your mortgage payment. When you're renting, you're making your landlord wealthy.
Instead of yourself.
Instead of yourself.
All right, we need to take a short break, and we'll be right back on the Real Deal Real Estate Show. We're talking about the rent trap and how to break it and how to get on to building wealth. So you're listening to the Real Deal Real Estate Show on KGMB 1420 AM and 103.1 FM. We'll be right back. And we're back on the Real Deal Real Estate Show. We're talking about the rent trap and how to get out of it and why you want to get out of it with some really good people here, Francine Larrabee, Becky Wiley, and Wes Miller. Now, Becky, recently you've had a couple of renters shift from looking at renting and they end up buying. How'd that work?
It worked out great. Took them on Black Friday to look at some rentals. They had a pretty high rental budget. Asked them if they were interested in buying. They said they had thought about it, but never really thought anything of it. Took them to a new neighborhood, and less than 30 days later, they closed on their brand new house.
Good. And how did they do money-wise?
Their mortgage is actually $100 less per month than what their max rent amount was, and they're building equity.
Now, Francine, are you seeing some of the new builders offer some really good incentives out there to help people get in where they're not having to come with so much cash to the table?
Yeah, a lot of builders are offering really great incentives right now, from buying down their interest rate. Some of them are, there's some of them offering, depending on what builder, some are offering $20,000 in builder incentives. So you can apply that to, maybe blinds, or you can apply it to buy down your interest rate, which when you buy down your interest rate, it helps decrease your payment. So
yeah, I've seen some where the buy down got them into the 4 or 5% range, which really is a long-term rate you could lock in and keep. So that's really good. Plus, they're doing some things about paying closing costs and those kind of things, right?
Like the $20,000 that I was just talking about, that goes for closing costs and everything else. So
and prepaids, which is a whole nother story we talk about.
Right.
Now, Francine, while we're on that subject, do you find that some of the renters are resistant to want to talk about buying because of fear, maybe?
I don't know if it's necessarily fear or the lack of knowledge.
That could be part of it, right?
So, I mean, there's a lot that, people don't think that, a lot of people still assume you need that $10,000 or $20,000 to for a down payment, and that's just not the case anymore. They have, FHA loans, you've got conventional loans, you've got VA loans, with some of the, like FHA and,
USDA.
Conventional USDA is no money down. You still have closing costs, but, it's a 3.5%.
Yeah. So you can get everything from 0 to 3.5%. If you don't qualify that, because USDA, you got to be outside the city limits.
Right.
All right. But even conventional, you can get some 5% loans on that and so on. But if you're going to new construction, that's where you're seeing all the deals.
All the incentives. My clients got almost $33,000 in incentives to use either toward closing cost, down payment, upgrades, buying down points. And there's all these different programs, first-time homebuyer programs, first responder programs out there.
School teacher
Yeah, I was
programs.
gonna say
Yeah.
school teachers. You know, and a lot of resale homes, a lot of them are offering incentives. Sellers are offering incentives. They're teaming up with lenders, to buy down those interest rates and stuff like that. So, don't count out the resales for that.
So what this is really saying, guys, is that if you're dealing with seasoned agents or people that understand this market, they can guide you. There's no reason to have fear. Okay, fear is a killer. And a lot of people are intimidated by banks. I mean, everybody goes, oh, God, I got to go to the bank and talk to them, and they're like a god up here. But really, the finance guys that you have in your toolbox are really trying to help people find a way to buy, are they not?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Now, if somebody's worried about their credit, is there ways to help them get their credit scores up?
Yeah, there are a lot of ways to get your credit score up. There's some credit repair stuff, but a lot of lenders will also do, they'll look at your credit and find ways to boost your credit. Let's say you pay off, this credit card, wait 30 days and it boosts your credit score.
Yeah, 10, 15 points, sometimes 20 points.
Right.
Really, if you're 640 is what you really need to buy a house normally and get a decent interest rate. And people are sitting on a 580. They're going, oh, my God, I can't get it up 60 points. But rescoring, a lot of times, will
That's
help
what it was
you, right?
called.
And then the other thing is just pay your bills on time for a year. Because if you've missed a payment once, you're out of the VA market automatically for a year until you have a year of paying on time. So that's the number one thing. All right, so let me ask Becky and Francine here real quick. What are some of the first steps for buyers to get out of the rent trap?
I think the first step is for all renters is to have a plan. Talk to your landlords. Communication is key. You never want to have a broken lease.
Right.
You want to make a game plan and then talk to a lender as soon as possible to start working on that credit rescore, building your credit.
Now, Francine, you would say talk to your real and let them guide through you, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would say give me a call, and then we'll get with a lender together, because if you don't have somebody holding your hand and guiding you through this process, you get lost.
Well, you get lost. It's intimidating. There's a lot of things like that. So, okay, so we want to get with a realtor. We got to get with a lender. If they're still hung and renting because they need to, because they're moving, or they have a job relocation or coming from, they still really need to know what?
Their credit score.
Yeah. How many of them do you run into know their credit score when you're talking to renters?
You'd be surprised. A lot of them don't know their credit score. Keeping an eye on credit is super important.
Yeah, that is a real key. Okay, so we know a credit score, we get a lender, we know the counseling, and then we establish the buying power. Is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Now, what is one thing coming up right now that renters can do to help them have the money for down payment?
Save your income tax return.
Hallelujah, brother. If I can't tell you in my career how many people, when they kept that tax return, was the real seed money to help them get a chance at buying a home.
Yeah, it's
So
great advice.
Don't go off and spend it on that vacation to hula, man. I mean, you put it in that house and make money.
Don't go buy a new TV. Just save it.
So here's the key. Wes, wrap it up for us about what the Rent Trap does. And you've got a special new program coming, do you not?
Yes, that's what we're doing. We've set a goal in 2024. We want to help 25 people get out of the rent trap. This is very important to us. It's an initiative that we're taking. It's better for you guys. It's better for our community. It's better for everyone involved. We've got the team in place. We have the preferred lender. We've got the credit counselors. Take that step. Just give us a call. Come on in. You might not be able to buy a house next month. Let's put you on a year plan, an 18-month plan. Let's get a plan in place. Let us hold your hand, walk you through it, and move you towards getting out of the rent trap and building your own wealth. Look, your landlord's got enough wealth already.
More people. If you take a look nationwide, the real story is that they build more savings in their homes and what they buy than they do in savings accounts and others, because it's easier.
It's easier. Your house makes money for you while you sleep.
That's right.
If you like that, we like to go, move you to the next step. Let's do it once. A year or two later, let's do it again. Let's get a plan in place to do this 4 or 5 times in a row and make you a millionaire.
I mean, look, where can you put in $6,000 and get $17,000 back in a year and see that equity grow? And really, you're just living your daily life, right? Versus helping me and the rentals I have become healthier. And I have a whole program on that, so just call me. All right, so Francine, how can people get a hold of you?
Hey everyone, if you would like to learn more about what we've been discussing today, you can give me a call at 512-299-5155. That phone number again is 512-299-5155.
And Miss Becky?
You can give me a call at 830-708-3011.
Great. And both of these gals are really good. They deal with tenants all the time. They'll help you find a rental if you're really into the short-term use of that in a year or two. But if you're going to live in town longer than 2 years, you really are wasting a lot of money. Wes, is there a website they can go to when the new program comes out?
Yeah, for sure. Well, for now, just you can find all of us at DeelyEdwardsRealty.com and watch for some more information coming soon there.
Well, great. That's all the time we have today. I really appreciate Francine Larrabee, Becky Wiley, and Wes Miller being on the show today and trying to help you start the new year by profiting. So, till next Saturday at 10 o'clock, I'm D. Lee Edwards saying thanks for listening to the Real Deal Real Estate Show, where you can get financial news, financial advice, how to make more money, helpful hints on, well, how to make your home prettier, easier, sweeter, and neater. For the new year, this is D. Lee Edwards saying, good day, Nabrumples, and good investing.